Hello there, my name is Chris, aka The Jackal, and this is my first ever art cross-stitch pattern diary. This is me basically making a video for myself and for those interested, where I'm just going to talk about the patterns that I'm coming up with, because I've decided that I really would love to have a career in making patterns. I just think it's the coolest thing ever in the whole world. It's the one thing I could probably do every day. I could wake up and do every day and feel absolutely no distress about it. And I love cross stitch. I just love it. I just think it's a great thing. And yes, I struggle with a cross stitch. I get tired very quickly. Like I have super low attention span, so obviously that does challenge the cross stitch at times. So it means I have to do it in small bouts, which is why I'm not very quick with the cross stitch. But with the pattern design, I don't know what it is. I've just got a great system with it, and I'm very quick. And I'm very quick to learn new skills anywho. So it's very cool, and you know, for me, devoting my life to this sort of creating positivity with a skill that people can find solace in and happiness and sort of therapy, to help you. Because recently I've been feeling really down, really down, really low on the happy scale. It's been because the problem with my mum's health, which is all positive now. I'm very happy about that. But there was another problem as well that was really, really hitting me really hard, and that was that, like my previous job, I was a care worker looking after senior citizens, and I was good at that. But I found the job so extremely emotionally upsetting that I had to leave in the end, and I know that sounds really worse, but there was just something about I know they didn't treat them badly and everything, but I felt they didn't treat them like human beings, and I couldn't stand being told off for calling somebody by their name rather than calling them a service user. Things like that. There are lots of things like that I just couldn't stand, and seeing people in such a bad way. Not everybody in a care home is bad off. There's a lot of happy people, but that's not what I ended up getting to experience much of. So I had to leave that job because my emotional well-being was on a huge decline, and I was very depressed, and Kay just said, you're just gonna have to pack it in. You're just gonna have to quit because you're not yourself. But that stress has been replaced, however, with not being able to find a job. And one of the problems with not being able to find a job is, and it's not a I'm a man thing. It's just that as a person, it's very difficult to find the lack of interest in somebody on an autistic spectrum, dyslexic and stuff, and willing to take on somebody of that level. The anxiety that they have on taking somebody like that, thinking that it'd be too much work. It basically means I can't find somebody to take me in, and that can be very stressful. And also now it's built up to such an emotional state where I'm paranoid now about even going for a job interview, because I'm just gonna have to face that whole thing again. So that's a bad mindset which I'm working on. But cross stitch is easing that pain, easing that distress. It's been great having donations, of course, from people, and people buying my patterns, because that has supported me, because that has saved me from having to do lots of little things, well, actually I still do lots of little things like selling stuff here and there and doing lots of things to get the money, of course. But it's been a great way, and it made me realise, do you know what, I really would love to do cross-stitch pattern designing as a career. And I know, we should all want to be Beyonce and everything, and I think I'd make an amazing Beyonce. I do have the ass for it, but I don't think I don't think it's a really difficult job for me to do. I think it's a job that I could get really comfortable in. I'd love to work, someone like the Prairie Schooler things and stuff like that. Imagine if I worked for a company like that and we made patterns, and yes, my patterns are crazy, but I would love to do that. And also, the reason why I picked up cross stitch is because I'm an artist, and I've always been an artist for as long as I can remember, except for the small time before being an artist where I wanted to be an undersea photographer for some reason. Anyway, so we're going to talk about my artwork. We're going to talk about some artwork that I've got and things I want to turn into patterns, because that's what the whole reason why I picked up cross stitch. It's because I wanted to convert my art into it. So let's have a look at the first piece. There we go. Sorry, I do talk a lot, don't I? So this piece is about you got like all these devils on your back and the problems about them and how they drain you, how they weigh you down, and it's basically, this is the face of the realization that perhaps that doesn't have to be that way. So this artwork is about the spark of the moment when you realize you don't have to be fearful every day, and that's a really cool thing. So there you go. So that would make a great little cross stitch for me. So that's like a plan. That would be like one of my art pieces. Not something I would necessarily put on the Etsy store. It'd be something I would enjoy myself. Next one I do have cross stitch patterns, by the way. And if you are interested, you really should hang on to the end for that. Here's a crazy one. This one is an identity finding crazy creature. Locating the source of the pain and the stress. It's kind of it's more of a comedy piece, but it's also about seeing what your emotion really is, being truthful to yourself, and that's really cool. I enjoyed that. The next one is the Playful Tiger. There we go. This is about finding your own way of identifying yourself as a man. My father wasn't a very good role model for being a man, so I had to invent what I think a man is off the top of my head. You know, as a young man, I had to invent that, and I basically found that the best way to be a man was somebody who was willing to do the thing that he didn't want to do. Like, that's like one of the most boiled down aspect of being a man, as is being a woman. And I think ultimately I found the point of being a human is the willingness to suffer to get the goodies, in life. To have a good life, you must be willing to suffer a little bit. So really, this is what that's about. This is that finding his identity, his wild animal and stuff, his multiple personalities, and chasing the shiny thing, and working his way there. Here's what I did this morning. It's just a simple doodle. And that's just a look. What was that even about? I don't even know. But that's a bit of fun. I think it was something to do with identity again, but I can't remember. Most artists will tell you that they think of what it's all going to be and what it all means in advance. But I tell you, my experience of the artists and the art world is that's complete bull crap. They make the work and then they discuss what it's about afterwards. That's how art really works. And the reason why is because when you make artwork, you should make it in a state of not quite knowing why. You should make it as in like, oh, I've made this thing, and then question why that came out of you. And I think that's a great way to make art. That's my favourite way. Here's just another little mini one. There we go. Pay play, so the price of playing and the price of not playing. You should always play with life and find things. I have no excuse for that. I don't know why that was done, but that's mental. Yes, some of my work does have risque themes. If you can spot the risque theme in this, 10 points to you. Yep, so there we are. Very fun. I enjoyed that. That was cool. Next one, I'm quite fond of this one. This one is very. It's a naughty piece of artwork, but it's also quite a deep piece of artwork. Pardon the pun. It's got like a lot of It's a deep one. It's a deep one. It's really focused on. Let's find the right words. Sorry, it takes me a while to catch up with my words to my brain. It's about. It's of course. All my work's about gathering an identity and an understanding of you in the now, rather than the past and the future. Because I like to live right now, rather than in the past and the future. Because I can do something about now, not either of the others. So yeah, this one is pretty cool. It's a concept of satisfaction and status, and those two ideas linked, and it's about the power that one gains once they find their inner perfect self, which looks nothing like a catwalk model. So that's a lot of fun one. Okay, so that's the artwork done, and now we're going to look at some pattern stuff that's going to get changed up. So here we are. Now this one is part of a story. There's two heads to this woman. The reason why there's two heads to this woman is because in the story, this woman has another soul in her body. Now, I did a story about this, and it's pretty fun. And it's I think it's Jane and Amanda in this one, and this guy's called Harrison. And this is an English lady who's gone to America, gone to live to America, and she's fallen in love with this American guy. And he's really cool. You know, I've written him to be a really swell guy. And yeah, and it's about a story of loss, and then finding love, and then accepting the gifts that you've been given. So that's the story to come out, and this is just a really basic pattern idea for that. Because you might notice on Instagram when I say, oh, I'm looking for names and stuff, there are things happening. Whoop, there are things happening about them, and you know, that's pretty cool. Other pattern designs, I've been fascinated with castles, particularly English castles, but I've also been fascinated about fantasy castles. So this one's just an idea of a cross stitch. I would love to, is it samplers where you do lots of little ones? I'd like to do like castle samplers, lots of those. And so I'm working on fantasy castles at the moment, but with pseudo English names. So, you know, that's that. Oh, and that was, so that's the other ones. So there'd be like mini castles, and you know, maybe one big one at the top with like 4 or 6 little ones underneath, or maybe some other variation. And I just love castles. I love how firm and how solid they are. Like when you're walking on a castle, there is this sense of solidity that makes you feel safe. Like you just feel like you're in it's something about being in a fortified location that I cannot explain. If you I don't know if does the States have castles? That's just my ignorance. I don't know. You must have something, right? You know, it's not like, you know, you popped up overnight. So there must be some sort of fortification. So go to a fortification with solid walls. And if you can go to Europe, go to Europe. There are castles everywhere. And they're just beautiful things, and I love castles, and I think they're cool. Next ideas that I'm working on is really just for a fun one. Now this may look like a whole bunch of scribble, and it is, but it's about the idea is I thought I wanted to make a piece of, you know, like a piece of work, you know, like for cross stitch pattern, which is for kids, for young boys. This is just playing with the idea, but ultimately having a positive message of how to be a man in essence, kind of written in it, you know, sort of like, you know, like positive messages of like, you know, like, you know, so it's not saying like it's okay to cry, but you know, like, but for example, saying like, you know, like it's okay to lose because that's just one step, that's just one of the steps to winning, you know, that sort of thing. So like that sort of thing about a knight you know, fighting a dragon, you know, could be, you know, is actually a reflection of fighting your own personal things. Because I believe that we never really have an opponent in life other than ourselves. I think we are our own opponents. I don't think people actually fight anyone else. We fight ourselves. And I think that that's something I learned from a guy called Conor McGregor. And I like that concept. And so I've hung on to that. Another thing I've been thinking about doing is monster houses. Love to do monster houses. So think about that, Chris. I don't know how it's going to look yet. So this is just a little mock-up. But monster houses. I like that. I like that very much. What have we got here? I keep saying a lot, don't I? Little witch. Just thinking about how to create witch patterns and stuff. That's a little test piece. I'm thinking about turning Esmeralda, or whatever she's called. You name her. Give her an Italian name or a Spanish name. Or a Celtic name. There's loads of great names actually all over the world, and I'm thinking about like you know, creating like a nice little mini with a witch there. I think that'd be really nice. Next one is called American Moon. Part of me has always wanted to live in the States, just because I think that they would. I think in America they might be a little bit more open to my type of creativity. Sometimes in the UK I don't feel particularly. There's a lot of emphasis on history here, and there's a lot of like they're stuck in it. Like they don't get it. They don't know what to do to move on. I think that's the benefit of like new nations. You know, the newer nations is like, you know, our cousins and stuff. They're like they won that one, didn't they? They just got this. They got a lot of things not to worry about. I know that everyone has their problems, but I just love the idea of maybe one day living in America and living seeing tower blocks and things like that would be very cool. And I know that sounds very country bumpkin of me, but it's just something I'm fascinated by. I'm also very fascinated by Canada. I know they're different places, and that's why they both have different appeals to me. Okay, so here's one. This one you might go, bloody hell, Chris, that's a bit busy. And yes, it is a bit busy, and it's my first go at a larger scale one. I saw this one, like a Life After Death thing, or whatever it was, I can't remember, this giant one with a whale in it. I just thought I'd love to make a giant picture, so there you go. That is about women. A lot of my work is about women sometimes, because the lack of a father left me with a mother, and I've always found myself much more comfortable in the company of women. I don't just because, and I just find they make more sense. That's all I got to say on that. But yeah, so it's you know, so you got like the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So, and that's the symbol there. It's just playing around with ideas. This one is not done yet, but this will be my Halloween masterpiece. This Halloween, 2017 Halloween masterpiece. It's going to be a big one. The Queen is excellent. The Queen is excellent. It's going to be moved around and jumbled. It's going to have a border and a title. So that's going to be cool. And then finally, part of a new story I did about a muffin cat. Was it a muffin or a cupcake cat? I think it was a cupcake cat. But I've got two ideas here. So it's sort of like... So one of you may notice there are names that people requested. So I've got Dawn, she's called Dawny in this, so like Dawny Owl. And then I've got like a Linda here, I know a few Lindas out there, so I thought I'd put that in. And I've got Madame McKenna, who is the witch in the story. So that's Madame McKenna, and this is the other version. So this one's a little while yet, because I'm so bogged down. I make about 5 to 10 patterns a day. So, and I just can't get them made quick enough. So, but this is a story. This is a fully fledged story. It's got these characters in. It's about a cat getting turned into a cupcake and the necromantic dilemma that occurs throughout that process. And it's a funny story. So there you go. That's my art diary, solving that. Okay, so that's cool. I don't really have anything else to say other than thank you for all the support and the donations and buying my work, because it's the only way I can really make money at the moment while I'm looking for a job. So that's been amazing. It's been amazing support. I'm thinking about making a small mini sampler thing for a lady called Crafty Squirrel. And I'm just going to have a squirrel who's crafty somehow in a picture, and then Crafty Squirrel written, and that's just going to be a piece there that's going to be put on cheap for her to pick up if she wants, because it's for her. And if I know who she is and have her email address, I'll send it to her for free. And so once that's made, yeah, that's a cool thing I'm doing. Yeah, so that's it. That's everything I got. Oh, you've got to remember to breathe, haven't you? My brain's so fast sometimes. Anyway, so you've been sexy. I've been fantastic as well. We've had a great time. We've rock and rolled it to the break of dawn, and yeah, so there we are. So until the next adventure, you keep stitching, you keep it sexy, and see you later. Bye bye.